Hey guys, Ken Calcutt here with Cornerstone Financial Management. Hope you're doing well. I wanted to give you guys an update on some important numbers that are changing for 2026. It may not seem like a lot, but there's a lot of moving parts to retirement plan contribution changes in 2026. So I've got 4 slides I've put together I want to go through. I think this will be helpful for a lot of you guys as far as knowing what you can fund for next year. We'll start with this. This is just basic IRA and Roth IRA contributions. Those limits are going up next year. For anyone under the age of 50, I think it's easier to look at it this way. If you were born after 1976, you will not be 50 next year. You'll be held to this limit, $7,500. Okay, so that'll be the max you can put in for an IRA or a Roth IRA. If you're doing monthly contributions, that's $625 a month. The catch-up contribution, if you're 50 and older, you can do $8,600. This is an odd number. Normally they go up in $1,000 increments, but this year it's $1,100 difference. So $8,600. If you're 50 and older, that's $716 a month. So if you're doing monthly contributions to max out, that's your number. Now, a couple of caveats that always are in play, but just a reminder, if you're funding a Roth IRA, you have income limits. You can be earning too much income to fund the Roth. If you're a single tax filer, your phase out, what we call the phase out period, if your modified adjusted gross income is above 153 to 168, that's the phase out range. So above 153, you start losing your ability to fund Roth. Above 168, you can't fund Roth at all. If you're a joint filer, that phase out is 242 to 252. Okay, so if your income is above that, your modified adjusted gross, if your income is above that, you can't fund Roth. So these are the new limits, assuming you are eligible to fund it based on your income. Keep in mind, this only applies to contributions, not conversions. If you're doing Roth conversions, there's no income limit on that. If you're doing new contributions, these income limits apply, okay? So now we'll jump over to the next one. So 401ks and 403bs, there's a slew of plans that are defined contribution plans through work. 401k is the most common. The contribution limit's gonna go to $24,500 if you're under the age of 50. It's $32,500 if you're, and this is where it gets complicated, this is new in 2026, if you're 50 to 59 or 64 and older. Normally this would just be 50 and older. Next year it's a little different, 50 to 59 and 64 and older, because there's a third category. I don't know why they did this, but they did. $35,750 is the limit if you're 60 to 63 in 2026. Weird one, but they call it a super catch-up for this group of people. That's basically if you were born in 1962, 63, 64, or 65, you'll fall in that category, and you have the potential to do extra catch-up contributions that would total $35,750 for 401k funding for next year. So there's actually 3 categories with contribution limits. There's normally 2. It's normally just these 2. Now we have a third. A little bit confusing, but maybe helpful for some of you guys to know what you can contribute to your plans. More caveats. This is important information to know. These catch-up contributions, both of these 2, they are your basic contributions plus catch-up. If you're doing catch-up contributions, those contributions, the catch-up contributions must be Roth contributions if your FICA wages at that job are above $150,000. This is new also. I've never had this before. If you make more than $150,000 at that job where you're contributing to your 401k, and you're contributing more than $24,500, anything over $24,500 must be Roth contributions. Now, I do not know if your employer's 401k plan will catch that and make sure it happens correctly for you, or if you have to make sure it happens correctly, because this is new. I'm guessing a lot of 401k plans will not have this provision automated, and so you probably should plan to stay on top of this. If you're maxing out your 401k and you're in one of these brackets, you need to check it second half of the year and make sure those contributions start going Roth after you pass the $24,500 mark, okay? So that's new and it's odd. This might be helpful. What defines FICA wages? Salary, hourly income, bonuses count, commissions count, tips, overtime, sick pay. All of that combined, if you're making more than $150 at that job, you're gonna have to do Roth contributions for your catch-up if you're going over $24,500. I know that's a lot, but this will be helpful for some of you because it gets real confusing real fast. We're going to jump to the next one. Simple IRAs. This is more applicable to people working for smaller companies. They tend to have simple IRAs. This is almost like a small version of a 401k, but very pared down. Contribution limits, if you have a simple IRA, $17,000 if you're under 50, $21,000 if you're 50 to 59 and 60 to and 64 and older. And then we have another third category for the first time, $22,250 if you're 60 to 63, the same birth years, 1962 through 1965. So this third category is new, additional catch-up allowed if you were born in these years. No provision that I've seen that requires these catch-up contributions to be Roth like they are in the 401k. I believe these can all be pre-tax, but 3 categories here. These are the new limits. Last one I'll cover, not a big change here. If you're a solo practitioner, sole proprietor, and you're funding a SEP IRA, this is common for a lot of professions, realtors particularly, but it could be a ton of them. Insurance professionals, if you're solo practice and you have a lot of 1099 income, SEP IRAs are real common. 20% of net business income is still a limit, or 25% of W-2 wages, depending on how you pay yourself. Okay, if you pay yourself both ways, it's 25% of W-2 wages. But it can be either. Hard dollar cap, $72,000. So if 20% of your wages is 20 grand, then you can only do 20 grand. But if you have a very high income and 20% of your wages is more than 72 grand, you can't do more than 72. 72 is the hard dollar cap. So 4 different types of retirement plans we're covering, changes to all of them for the most part. I know it's confusing. You guys can reach out to us anytime if you have questions, but hopefully these slides will help you just see some numbers that might apply to you so you know what you can and can't do for next year. But as always, I hope this is helpful, and if you need us, reach out anytime. Thank you.